Hello, CK, finally, the KTM 390 adventure.
Yes, all in good time.
All in
Baski.
good time. Most anticipated motorcycle after the Himalayan 450, I would say, at least in the adventure segment. There's so much hype, especially because it is coming from KTM. KTM is known for their off-road and adventure motorcycles. Not so much for their street, at least not in India. Duke, yes, did set a standard for what a street motorcycle should be. But for somebody who rides adventure motorcycles, who tours a lot, this is the motorcycle I was most excited about after the 450. What about you?
I was all the more keen to understand what new tricks the KTM ADV would put out in their latest avatar. Yeah, first impressions. You want to head straight into it?
Let's give a reference to the previous 390 adventure. That was a...
Do we really need to do it, Baski?
Oh, it's okay.
It was just a Duke on stilts, as I said earlier.
Duke on stilts. It was. However, for a Duke on stilts, it did quite well.
Because the Duke 390 was a good motorcycle in the first place.
One of the best motorcycles in that segment in India for sure. Yeah, Duke on stilts. The engine character and the suspension. These were the two which there were a lot of griping about. Suspension doesn't have enough travel. And the engine character doesn't fit a ADV or a dirt motorcycle. Seat height also was another concern, right? It's a bit tall.
So it was a bit taller. To the best of my memory, it was 855 millimeters. And the shape of the seat also did not help because it was more flat and wide in the front rather than being that narrow thing. So, yeah.
So it was a compromise.
Indeed.
A stopgap. So the reason I said that reference is because now this 390 adventure is what KTM is all about. This is KTM. It looks the part. It's a drool piece. I love how it looks. I love how it looks. When I saw it, I imagined myself being... Who's that rider for KTM? Paul Tyres? No, he rides...
Chris Birch.
Chris Birch. Yeah, okay, sorry. I think Paul Tyres rides a Yamaha.
All your Yamaha fans will be up in arms against you.
Sorry, Yamaha fans, I've offended you by calling Paul Tyres a Tyres. I'm sorry.
Simple, Paul Tarsi.
Paul Tarsi. Okay, you give him an Indian name, Paul Tarsi.
Yes.
Paul Tarsi is a Yamaha rider. Chris Birch, yes. I think Chris Birch can take a Enfield Mofa and climb over mountains. He's that level. Chris Birch is a pioneer in getting viewers to drool over motorcycles in imagination that we can also do what Chris Birch does. Oh, I got carried away. Now coming back to the KTM 390 adventure, yes.
See, he set your imagination run wild.
See, this is what some people can do, and that is what some motorcycles also can do.
KTM is one of it, the ADV.
Absolutely, very much. They had those 790s, the 890s, 1090, 1190,
1290,
1390.
1390.
Yeah, these are all the motorcycles they have. All adventure motorcycles, and North America and Europe, their diet from when they are young is totally different to our diet in terms of motorcycling. They are brought up with a lot more powerful motorcycles, bigger motorcycles. So 1290 or 1390 is, they're able to use it much more than what we can. That is evolution. It is not a reflection of any deficiency in our capability, but just that's how they have evolved.
If I have to say, yeah, we were a bit malnourished when it comes to the motorcycle diet.
Yeah, in more than one way, malnourished. Yeah, I think KTM was busy focusing on selling to the developed countries, those bigger motorcycles, and making big fat margins like every other manufacturer. Nobody paid attention to the mid-size, the 400 to 600 cc. Royal Enfield kept plugging at it for several years, and it is where it is today because of that consistent attack and pursuing that market. And now everybody is coming to this segment.
But then see, I'm a bit surprised when you say that the Paris-Dakar Rally is run on 450. So it is not that these manufacturers did not have a 450cc capable machine.
They all had. Every single one of them, the Japanese, the Europeans, had brilliant single-cylinder mid-size motorcycles. The 400s, the 450s, the 500s, the 550s, whatever. They could move around 150cc here or there and come up with a brilliant engine. But I guess they didn't want to until the Himalayan came and kicked everybody's backside and said, dude, this is a big market here and this is the future of motorcycling. Big bikes are on their way down across the world for multiple reasons, because there is a slowdown in Europe and America. Motorcycling is dying.
It's more got to do with the culture. The other day when I was having a conversation with my colleagues there, so the thing there in Europe is like, okay, if your parents are into motorcycling, then it becomes very easy for the children to follow paths because they're more exposed to it. If the parents are not much into all of this, it dies down. Anybody in the circle, so it's more like the influencer. That is what the reason I heard as to why motorcycling is on a bit of a decline.
And the economy is slowing down. Europe is slowed down. North America is not really doing like it used to earlier. So the manufacturers are now focusing on Asia. So China, India, East Asia are the markets. And here, the staple diet is small and mid-size.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that KTM is into this segment, brought out a motorcycle that is true to its DNA. This is KTM DNA, CK. This is KTM DNA. For me, yes, the street bikes are there, but when I close my eyes, I think of KTM, I think of off-road. Yes, maybe because I've been brought up on. I love those kind of motorcycles, not fond of street and fared motorcycles. But anyway, so happy the KTM 390 is here. I was so excited. I hopped onto it. I had the opportunity to go to Goa, ride it there. 140 kilometers I managed, which was a little more than many others managed because I simply got lost.
Nothing unusual.
I got lost in Goa. Can you imagine that?
Did the bike make you lose, or did you intentionally lose yourself in Goa? I smell something now.
I have no clue. No, you don't need to. There's nothing smelling here. Nothing fishy, CK. Things are very clear. I just rode around, followed one of the tracking vehicles. I didn't have any tracking vehicle. I was there by myself, and they requested, can you just pop? We need a few shots. So I just followed them, and I didn't know where I was. We were in a good 50 kilometers. Then I looked at some point, this lake, some dam, some field. I said, okay, let me go there. I went all the way there. It started to get a bit warm. I said, okay, let's head back to the hotel. Put in the name of the hotel and said, it's unusually far away, 90 minutes. I said, okay, it doesn't matter. So I rode and went and got to the hotel. It looked very different to me. That's the wrong branch. I had gone all the way to North Goa. I put the map again, the right hotel, another 90 minutes. However, that was a blessing because I got to ride in peak traffic.
How was it?
Okay, we will come to that. So this is the core of the whole exercise. And I wasn't satisfied. Of course, you weren't there, you didn't get to ride. So we pinged to check if we can get a motorcycle for a week. Voila, we got it. So we took it to Sakleshpur.
Yeah.
Between us, we rode for about 700 kilometers. And that is why we are here today, to share what we think about it. First impression, CK?
Even before the first impression, Busky, I know you attended the press meet with the KTM folks. Were there any statements around the financial stability? Yeah. Because I'm sure many folks would be interested to know about it.
There weren't any statements made. However, they said a statement would be released soon by KTM. And I think that has happened. Creditors have put in some amount of money, 300 or 400 million euro to revive it. And now we don't know. I don't know. CK doesn't know. Nobody really knows the long-term future of the brand or even the medium-term future. But at this moment, right now, yes, there is a revival. The brand is too valuable.
For me, KTM has been one of the flag bearers of innovation and technology, right? You look at their tubeless setup with the spokes, for example. They're lightweight. How did they get to make motorcycles so very light? They should not fade away. They should continue to be there.
It would be tragic if this brand was to fade away. I don't think that will happen. Should that deter someone from hesitating? Should someone hesitate to buy a KTM today? While it is to each their own money, the safety, security they wish, I don't think it should be a concern. Bajaj Holdings has a significant portion of KTM, and I think they are going to probably get a little more share of that pie. They have taken a beating on that too, because their investment in KTM has come down because of these losses. To summarize the financial situation, I do not think it is of any great concern. One can go ahead and buy a KTM, enjoy it.
Yeah. So all the prelude, preface,
Build up.
set, build up,
Pump up.
all of that
All of it
completed.
done.
So, cutting straight to the chase, Busky, the looks of the motorcycle.
The best looking adventure tourer in this country today. Period.
I mean, like, it's neat, size 0, a little bit more than size 0,
Size
I
zero,
would say.
yeah.
You know, you look at it, you know, be it the tank, be it the lines that flows around. Yes, it's still got those edgy lines and all that stuff.
That's KTM.
That's KTM for you. The twin headlights that have been put up one above the other, the projector thing, the visor, the handlebar. I mean, like, everything looks the part.
This is the dream. If I imagined a KTM adventure motorcycle for India, which is affordable and usable, I would have dreamt of this.
Possibly the only thing that looks ugly on the motorcycle is me sitting on it. What do you say?
After a long time, you have got something right, CK.
I've been getting many things right, spending time with you.
I look ugly. You look uglier on it. Nailed the looks department.
Yes.
There is nothing I would say that doesn't really go well. But one item which could have been done better were those bull horns.
Yeah.
They don't stick out until the time actually you go and see it and try to put some luggage on there, a horseshoe luggage or a saddlebag. Then one realizes how impractical those bull horns are behind the grab rails, rear seat grab rails. That's the only. Looks great, but it's pure form over function.
True.
So I'm sure somebody will come up with some smaller, sleeker grab hold. Look-wise, it still looks great. Impractical.
I mean, like, you know, the complete motorcycle looks so very slender, sleek, and this is one like. I mean, I was like holding it like this. Yeah, you were doing it, but I was like.
He's a liar. Don't believe him. He pretends things are like this when they're like this.
You're getting somewhere else now.
Okay. Fit finish.
I think, see, the majority of the KTM EDV is all plastic.
Yeah, that's one thing we have to accept. Set that as the base tone. It is plastic. It's a lot of plastic. A lot of plastic. But that's KTM. So it's not something shocking that why is there so much plastic? That is how they achieve the balance, the design, the usability, the quick changeability of different parts. Yeah, a lot of plastics. Multiple pieces.
For the kind of fit and finish you can expect from a plastic part, this was pretty good, except for a couple of, you know, places where they could have gone better.
Yeah, they could have. And I'm told that this is that pigmented plastic. It's not painted. Even some of the graphics is part of the
Pigmented?
yeah,
Wow.
part of the plastic. A scratch, a dent, a scrape will not reveal a different color under the scrape. The purpose is these motorcycles tend to be used in tough environments, so they can be dropped a few times. While damage cannot be completely eliminated, but those scratches will stand out less.
It's not going to be an eyesore.
Yeah, it may not stick out like an eyesore. A scratch on an orange panel reveals an orange color scratch underneath. So it's not going to become a gray or a black one. That's something they have invested in. That's it's what I learned delayed the launch a bit. Manufacturing of that plastic took a little time in India to set the process right. So those are one of the reasons contributing to the launch when it was launched. Otherwise, I was told it could have been launched several weeks earlier. Plastics are good. There's a bit of rattling.
That goes.
An odd rattling. It's not that kata kata type. We are very fond of making those noises. Kata kata kala kala kiti kiti kata kata. It's just we enjoy speaking in those languages. This is not a rattle. I'll say it's a bit of a harmonic noise, right?
I experienced that, just before the power kicks in, like on 4K RPM.
Yeah. There's a house.
Yeah, there's like that plasticky thing.
Resonance, right?
Resonance.
Plasticky resonance. Then it goes away.
It gets away, and it's not intrusive, but only if you're paying a careful ear to it.
Yeah, we were paying attention simply because we're riding it for the first time, so our ears and our nose and our eyes were all on alert, looking for what we can find is wrong with motorcycles, CK.
And what can fall off as well.
So there was a bit of resonance. I noticed it in the motorcycle in Goa. The same thing was there in the motorcycle we rode to Sakleshpur. There are two different motorcycles. So there is a bit of resonance. However, like CK said, it is something we will find only if we look for it. After some time, I think it just becomes part of the
system.
Okay.
So, how do you perceive this from an overall quality perspective, Baski?
Good. Plastic quality is good, acceptable. Fit finish, the way plastics sit together. Yes, there are always one or two places where they could actually line up better. They are plastics, and I don't have the pricings yet, but I'm sure they will all be fairly priced because they are all made in India, made by Bajaj, and Bajaj is known for the ability to produce parts at prices which the competition struggles to match. So, yeah, overall quality is good. Perfectly acceptable for that segment and for the price that I am paying for that motorcycle. I'm happy with the quality, fit, finish, and plastics.
That's same here. I was quite happy with the quality, the fit finish, be it the mirrors or the seat kind of stuff. So pretty good, I would say.
Okay. Let's come to a little more interesting bit, the tubeless wheels.
I think you had made a reel of this, Baski.
I did make a reel of this. These are made by a company which is owned by KTM. It's patented, so they have the copyright for that. They use it on all their motorcycles. There is a reel, you may take a look at it on Instagram, where I have had those pieces with me. There's a rubber seal and there is a protective layer. So it's a two-piece sealing system which goes into the well of the wheel. If you notice the KTM wheels, the center well is broad. That's where the seal sits. To explain it better, a pressure cooker. I'm sure we all seen a pressure cooker and we have seen the gasket.
Yeah.
The black rubber gasket that sits in very easily. But once you close it and lock it, it seals. Once the pressure builds up, it seals even better. More the pressure, better the sealing. So that's how this works. So put the seal in place, put the air, it's going to seal harder. With no pressure, it will seal. So higher the pressure, tighter the seal. So it works like a pressure cooker gasket. And even the material looks something like that. So a proprietary item. This results in the design where the spokes come down the middle, unlike the cross spoke which go to the outer edge. And having the spokes on the outer edge has a bit of a disadvantage. When bashing, in case of a impact or thing, the lip may bend.
Baske, I think that's a separate topic. We are deviating. Yeah, cross spoke versus the straight spoke. It calls for a fair discussion, a good YouTube video by itself.
Fair enough. I just thought I will give a little more information about
Well,
the reason why spokes in the center are used for off-roading. When a rim is damaged due to whatever reason, an impact, it tends to fold on the edges, and that's where the air can escape. And if the spokes are on the outer edge, spokes will get damaged, where it will compromise the rigidity of the rim. Spokes in the center are always a little bit better.
Yep.
Interesting item. Nice to have it on a motorcycle, because tubeless is a massive thing in India. It's not a big concern in Europe and North America, because they don't find stupid nails and metal pieces on highways there as often as we do here, CK.
Okay, let me just pop you a question. You've been riding from 88?
Yeah.
Yeah?
80, yeah.
88. So when did the concept of tubeless come?
Very recently.
I think too much is being made of tube and tubeless. You spend majority of your life riding
Tubeless.
tube
On tube, yeah. Sorry,
on tube tires, right? I mean, like, it's the younger generation who. Okay.
It's the last 5 years I've been on tubeless.
Exactly. When I bought the V-Strom that I bought was the first. Okay, before that the Interceptor, which I got the Outex done. I think that was the first motorcycle that I had as tubeless. Until then, it was all tube.
Yeah, it's a good point you brought up, CK, because my Harley was tube type.
Yeah, there you go.
My Tiger was tube type.
There you go. And did you moan about it?
No, I think we live more in fear of what might happen and worry ourselves to death about what might happen. And that ruins the entire ownership experience. Yes, it can happen. And when it happens, it might have ruined that day, that trip. But the months, the years preceding that, the months, the years post that is also ruined by over analyzing. I get your point. I didn't bother about any of that. If I have a flat, I have a flat. I fix it. I suffer in that moment. And then I put it out of my mind and I'm off I go.
I think too much is being made of the tube and the tubeless. And, anyway, I wouldn't read much into it. It happens, fix it. And these days you have the mobile, so support is round the corner, unlike good old days where you had to literally push,
Done that.
Yeah.
Pushed it, parked
Yes.
it, removed the wheel, hailed down a vehicle, sat it, took it to the next village, fixed it, came back, put it back. We've done all that.
So, too much is being made, but anyway,
Okay.
a separate topic.
Enough said about that. We'll have a topic separate. Moaning about tube type. We'll have a separate podcast.
How to moan about.
We'll rant everywhere about it.
Yes.
Anyway, so it's a great thing to have the tubeless system. It gives a peace of mind to several riders, knowing that they will not be stranded or have to struggle.
Boske, Underbelly exhaust on the ADV 390, kicking up a storm.
Ooh. I think it's unnecessary. So much kicking up of dust about that is not necessary. Yes, it can make good news, interesting reels, a lot of views one can get.
2 million views.
2 million views. Ride it without, don't talk about it, you get 200 views. Talk about the Underbelly exhaust, you get 2 million views. It is not a showstopper. There have been tests done. There are some riders who have ridden it through the water. Nothing much. Yes, there is also a reel that shows that it doesn't start once it is underwater. We never know the circumstances. So I would not bother much about it. They have tested it in 400 mm water. I think we can trust KTM to have tested it to a large extent, because after doing all this just to put an upswept exhaust and compromise the entire integrity and the capability of the motorcycle, I don't think that will happen. KTM or Bajaj would not allow that to happen. There are reasons why they put it, we will come to. However, since it is there now the way it is something not to lose any sleep or any peace over. It's just like the tubeless system. The more we keep thinking about it, the more we will ruin our peace of mind.
Agree.
Where are the
Basti.
exhausts in most of the motorcycles?
It's all.
So it's okay. It's not going to suck in water. The air intake is placed quite high under the seat, right where the tank and the seat meet. That place is high and dry. I don't think we need to worry too much about the exhaust. It's not a deal breaker, showstopper. It doesn't matter to CK and I think it should not matter to you. Put it out of your mind, and you can take that motorcycle to wherever you want to go to.
Yeah, I think even the initial KTM Duke 390 had an underbelly exhaust. 390, 200s, all that stuff. So never heard any horror stories.
Yeah.
I've been around for the last 10, 12 years at least. It's not something of a new concept.
Yeah, and somebody commented, "Oh, in the monsoons, monsoons. Things get flooded. Every exhaust, every scooter, every other motorcycle in India has got a flat exhaust. Very few have an upset exhaust. Only the motorcycles that cost a little bit more. But once water gets in, water gets in. That's the end of that. So let's not make too much about the underbelly exhaust."
Yeah, moving on, I think the headlights.
The beautiful stacked headlights.
And functional as well.
Very functional. We checked out those lights at night, and we put out a reel on Instagram on how it works, and probably the best in that segment. The projector lens, it's got two, a low beam and a high beam, and it's got a beautiful cutoff. It's like somebody's taken a pen or a marker and said this is how much the beam will spread. So minimum wastage of light, everything is focused where it is supposed to be focused, and it does not bother the glare on the oncoming traffic. However, that said, there is a rant which I put out some time back about the headlight focusing being done by the manufacturers, which is based on a standard set by ARAI and the Transport Ministry at a certain on a certain level, at a certain distance, with a 70 kilo rider, the beam should go at a certain angle.
Okay.
There is a regulation, and every manufacturer follows it. However, that regulation may need a relook because everything is a bit too high.
Yeah, I noticed that, especially in the stock setting, especially the high beam.
Lighting up the trees, low beam is slightly at the upward angle. So that is something we need to set right. Tell me something. I'm sure you have experienced scooters coming in the opposite direction. I'm sure many of us and you have scooters. Tell me a new gen scooter which has got the headlight focusing correct. The low beam is straight into the eyes of the oncoming traffic. The high beam lights up the window on the first floor of the nearby house.
Okay, I think they were inspired by that famous song. Mere sound they were. Could be.
So that needs a rule. So that needs a relook, and we did the adjustment on the 390. In the toolkit, there is a hex key. There is an adjustment right in the front, easily accessible. Just rotate, the beam comes down. And once we got that set, woohoo! Good headlights, CK. One of the best, and this means unlikely one would need to invest in auxiliary lights.
Yeah, you save some money there.
Save some money, unless of course you just like to have auxiliary lights.
Christmas tree.
Christmas tree. So great headlights. Well done. Well done. A good investment by KTM in researching and providing a light that actually works.
Yeah, I think after the Harley X440,
This is the best.
this is the best.
Well done.
Well done on that. So moving up, the windscreen. Very, very functional windscreen, at least for my purpose. That's touring, putting it on the highway.
Touring windscreen.
Yeah, honestly, it's quite wide, quite tall, no buffeting. It was neat.
CK is 5'10". I am a little more than 5'9". That may not give the full picture because limb length, torso length, all that comes into the picture. However, we found it very good as a touring screen, minimum buffeting, the top just clipping the top of our helmet. We wear the ADV helmets with that peak on top, which is very prone to wind buffeting. So the faster we went, the bigger the air bubble we were in. We hit some pretty high speeds. Buffeting, was minimal. Yes, somebody who is 6 foot and above obviously will find it difficult. 5, 10 and below, this protects quite well. Yes, for every pro, there is a slight bit of a con at slow speeds at say 40, 50 on a hot day on the highway. For whatever reason, you're going slowly, the airflow is a little compromised. Compromised, mind the word I have chosen, compromised. It's not bad, but it's a bit compromised. However, the advantage is that it delivers at high speed outweigh the little compromise at low speed. Mind you, we said it's a touring screen. Two issues with this. Crawling traffic, where sometimes we have to peer right over the front wheel because there is a vehicle in front, so we don't know really what's coming up from under that vehicle in front. There is a bit of vision distortion, so we need to peek.
Some of that quality could have been improved.
There's a bit of distortion.
It's a bit of distortion, especially towards the bottom.
It's made for a price, so there's a bit of distortion. That is an issue. And of course, some serious off-road riders will say it impairs their vision. Yeah, take it off.
Yeah, for off-roading, why would you need a windscreen?
Yeah, get rid of it and enjoy the ride. You can have good visibility. These are the things about the windscreen. Overall, for touring purpose, this is probably the best windscreen we have ridden.
Yeah, if I have to put it as a compliment, after the V-Storm, this was the most comfortable windscreen that I had, or that I could experience.
I'm sure there's been some aerodynamic testing and they've arrived at this design. It's even got a slot to kick up the air further up. So well done to them on that.
True. The display.
Yeah, it's a toy. It's a very nice display. KTM displays are always interesting and intelligent and provide too much information, which I don't like.
They have a view for you as well.
Yeah, that's the most interesting bit about this display is, what is it called? Reduced display.
Reduced display. Exactly.
Reduced
it was
display.
called reduced display.
Which is what the setting I like and even CK liked. It just shows, I think, 3 or 4 parameters.
I think it was
Speed, gear, RPM, fuel.
No RPM.
No RPM?
Speed, gear, fuel. That's it.
And
the odometer, if I remember.
Yeah.
These are the 4 things only.
So on a reduced display, the clutter is gone. It's like a real classic, simple. These are the informations we need. We need fuel, we need speed, odo. Warning lights, of course, will always be there no matter what display we choose. And all that flashing, the moving needles and that green, yellow, red. We don't need all that after some time. After all, I probably spend about 3 seconds every 2 minutes glancing at the odo. It is not there to entertain me. It is only that when I give it a quick glance, I should be able to absorb the information that I need. So the reduced display is a phenomenal feature.
So let's not do verbal economy on the dashboard. So let's extrapolate the other things as well, Bosky. I mean, like, what I actually found very interesting was, the display part of it, the customizations that can be done. And all of it can be done on the fly. Shut the throttle. You want to switch between the riding modes. You have it there. As you said, the reduced display, you have the option there. You can even change the color of the red, when you're redlining, you can even change that. I mean, like, it was crazy.
Those who are used to a Duke may not find it anything new. Those who are used to a KTM may not find it new, because this is something which has been there for some time, that setting the red line flash, the initial flash, then the RPM limit, shift. They call it the shift indicator.
One's the shift indicator and the second one is a red liner. So you set the shift limiter to around 7,500.
You can see we are a bit outdated in this regard.
Seriously?
There are people who can tell us what it is all about. Yeah, I think we should just drop that topic and say it's quite capable. It's got a lot of settings and adjustments. So instead, we will speak about the electronics, which you made the reference to. So setting the electronics on the fly. Okay. The only condition is throttle has to be 0. Once throttle is at 0,
You can make it.
we can set 3 primary modes: rain, street, off-road. Off-road is the one that's got the maximum punch. However, in street mode, we can set the ABS to off-road, the traction control to rain. It's permutations and combinations which are way beyond what we would probably bother to find out and check what's going on. However, the electronic suite is sweet.
Yeah, I think each mode you have 9 combinations, 9 permutations and combination. Okay. So 3 makes it 27. So the electronics makes the motorcycle behave in 27 different ways.
I rode it in rain mode. It's really, really soft and dulled out, so that the traction and control, everything is maintained. Any accidental inputs will not shake or jar the motorcycle and risk a skid or a slip or a wheel rotation. Then the street mode is what I rode most of the time in. It's got all the safety on, the ABS, traction control, all on. Does very well, nice. Off-road mode is a bit aggressive. Sometimes it's a bit odd. Off-road mode could be a little softer than the street mode, but this has got it a bit flipped around because that is KTM.
Guys, to be honest, I tried to pull a fast one on Busky. I put it on street mode, but the acceleration on off-road, he found it out.
I spotted it immediately. So these are the combinations we can play with. That is the fun on this motorcycle. However, the question is, how many times would we be playing with it? I think we would arrive at 1 or 2 settings of our choice and then we would leave it there. I think that's what electronics do. It's not something we keep fiddling with it constantly through the ownership. Terrain, change the setting, preset, like a suspension. We'll come to the suspension later. However, so electronics is the strength of this motorcycle. Quick shifter. The best electronics on this motorcycle is the quick shifter.
Yeah. The commute that I did in the city.
You're using the quick shifter
and commuting? The quick shifter, Busky. Can you beat it?
Hey, the clutch is very light.
The clutch is light. I'm not complaining.
And on top of that, a quick shifter, cruise control. This motorcycle can make one a lazy rider. You don't need to operate the clutch. You don't need to operate the throttle. You were doing that, weren't you? You lazy. He was posing and showing off when we were riding to Sakleshpur. I was on my motorcycle. He was on the KTM. He would pull up right next to me and do this. As if he's listening to some music. He doesn't listen to music, I know that. But he pretends how cool he was.
Yeah, so I thought we'll faff around a bit.
Cruise control is a great device to have. I am not a big fan of it. However, I think once it is there, once I start to use and enjoy it on very long days, I think giving the right hand a bit of a break is always a good thing.
I think it's a matter of time, Busky. You get used to the cruise control and you'll be searching for it.
Electronics package is the star of the show. It is the hero in this movie we are speaking about. From the quick shifter to the dash, the display adjustments, the traction control settings, the IMU, cornering traction. Once the IMU is there, both ABS and traction control come into play. The best, I think they have set a new standard in this segment. No motorcycle in this segment has this kind of electronics. I don't think anywhere in the world. For India, absolutely the first one ever to provide this range in a motorcycle in this segment and at this price. And that is why it costs what it does. And it comes marginally at a price marginally more than the outgoing or outgone 390 Adventure. Value, a lot of value in electronics. This is what the motorcycle is all about.
Yeah, so we'll come to the pricing part towards the last because I was able to observe a few cost control measures.
India is a super price sensitive market, and I have a funny feeling this motorcycle has been designed more keeping India and Asia in mind because of the cost control measures and seat height, seat to foot peg height.
I think we will get there. We'll save it for the last, Busky. with all these electronics, the gizmos, the settings, how was the handling for you?
KTM. KTM. This is what I imagined when I mentioned earlier in the podcast. If I dreamed of a motorcycle, if I dreamt of a motorcycle, if I created a motorcycle in my dream, this is how it would look, and this is how it would handle.
Right.
Light, flickable. It's a KTM. Expect nothing less from a KTM. This is the area where they excel, where other brands struggle. I think it is because of the use of the plastics and aluminium.
True, Bosky. I was actually surprised when I was maneuvering, when I was doing those high speed maneuvers, excess of 120 upwards. The bike was a charm. You know, it's like, okay, I was planning and I just move a bit, it would have been there. The other motorcycles that I ride,
More effort.
you need to put in effort.
But that comes with one compromise, right? It's a bit jittery. It's not that planted. Can we
Yes,
say that?
yes, especially at really obnoxious speeds.
Obnoxious speeds.
For what the motorcycle
Yeah.
is capable of doing, I found it a bit jittery. Be it on a straight line, be it on a rough road, I found it a bit jittery. Crosswinds makes it a little even more unsure. Yeah.
Ripples on the road also tend
Yes.
to move around. It moves around a little more than what we are used to.
Yeah.
It's not a knock on the motorcycle or a fault. It's just that when we are used to a certain type of highway touring with a certain weight, certain stability, this feels a bit jittery. However, it was that feeling kind of tapered off towards the end of our ride because we kind of getting used to it, so it didn't catch us out.
Yeah, we got used to the dynamics. So I knew, okay, I need not put in that much effort. All that I need to do is, move around a bit and the motorcycle would complete the
Like so many things, when we expect something, it's normal.
Yes.
The unexpected is what kind of gets us. So handling, I mean, I'm blown away by the handling. We have ridden the old 390 Adventure, and we were impressed with how light it feels, but the suspension was not great. That was a drawback. This has got the suspension and the superb flickability. Excellent handling. Probably the best in this segment.
And it translates in your city riding as well.
Oh yeah, talk to me about it. City.
Yeah, you did both ways, right? Picking up from Marathalli in peak evening hours and then your Goa ride.
Yeah, I thought I had experienced it all in Goa. The crawling traffic because of a lot of construction work. 90 minutes. Out of that, 1 hour was in traffic, and then the last 30 minutes was a beautiful highway where I almost pinned the throttle and went past 150. Anyway, I picked up this motorcycle at Marathalli at 5:30 p.m. A great time on a working day to be coming from Marathalli to JP Nagar and on the ring road. I don't know any other route. That's where the benefit of this handling comes in.
I'm pretty sure, when you were riding in the city, how were the control levers for you?
No fatigue, no stress. Throttle was light to operate. It has got that crawl feature. I don't need to really gas the throttle to get the bike to move. So with no throttle input, I could release the clutch. It moves forward. So in that really, I didn't have to keep doing this. So just a gentle lever. And then the clutch is light enough to operate with 2 fingers. Easy to ride in traffic. I didn't have to stress as much as I would have stressed with bigger and heavier motorcycles. But one thing got me in that traffic: the heat throw from the exhaust. I am not one who complains much about the heat, but I am more accepting of the heat that these mid-size put out. We've ridden several mid-size motorcycles. This did cause a little bit of bother. Not unbearable, yes, because probably everything is right under the foot. It doesn't have the secondary exhaust, which takes away some of the heat. Some of the heat is transferred to that. The exhaust is all compact right under.
Yeah.
So that is the reason why. And this is crawling traffic. Let me tell you. I told you first in 0, 2, 3, 4 kilometers per hour, stop. 2, 3, 4 kilometers per hour, stop. And this was going on for about 35 minutes. So exceptional circumstances, I felt the heat. But once out of there, gone.
I didn't face much in the short commute that I did on the way to returning the motorcycle. I found it okay, but then I start early in the morning at 7:10, so
ambient temperatures are different.
Yeah, so I didn't get to experience much of the engine heat. Majorly got to do with the time that I commuted.
I had jeans and sneakers on. Okay. So while I felt every time I come to a complete stop, I could feel the heat on the right side. Once I get moving, that was gone, and I didn't feel any radiator fan heat wafting up.
Okay, you didn't find that?
I didn't notice. I really didn't notice that. But I was the same thing. I was wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers. So the only thing I noticed was the exhaust heat when I had come to a stop. Not the exhaust. It's from the entire assembly. The heat exhaust gets blown out to the side. So I didn't feel any fan. Fan did kick in. I could hear the.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the way you're explaining, the fan would be continuously on.
The fan was on. I could hear it kicking in and kicking off. Nothing really wafting up and causing any more discomfort. It was just that slight bit at the ankle because I was wearing these stupid short socks.
Ankle short.
Ankles. If I had probably worn the full socks, things would have been slightly better. This is just nitpicking. I'm mentioning it because a lot of questions will come about the heat. One of the more popular questions, how's the heat? How's the heat? So if there is a heat, if you're wearing sneakers and short socks, you will feel it on the right side. From the radiator and the exhaust, radiator and the fan, I didn't, nothing bothersome. I didn't even notice it.
So highway riding and the city riding is like more or less convincing.
Yes.
Off-road. Were you able to put in some off-road in Goa?
Very little. Goa off-roads is my nightmares are made of Goa type off-roads. That red, loose, gravelly soil. Yeah. I am terrible off-road, and I'm even more terrible.
You're being modest.
No, I'm not. I'm not great off-road. I don't enjoy off-road. I have noticed that I've been thinking about it after the Goa ride. A lot of people enjoyed the off-road. I could see them doing all kinds of stuff, and I was gingerly going around. And we spent some time there. I was sitting and I was thinking, why am I not doing that? I used to do a bit of that, and I just realized that I used to do that was about 15 years ago. So I'm much older now. I don't want to put myself through that. Call it whatever it is. Chicken, afraid, feared. Yes, I do not want to put myself through any kind of much off-roading. If I do it at my pace, very gently. It's just my own appetite for risk is very, very little. So that kind of off-road, I don't enjoy, that highly slippery. It's just that I'm not used to it. I have not practiced much. Sand, I mentioned in the previous Himalayan video, riding on sand, I'm okay. It's just that what I'm used to. So we didn't do much off-road. Whatever little I did, since the motorcycle was very light to handle, good suspension, I won't hesitate to take that motorcycle off-road. You did a little bit in Sakleshpur. You did a small loop and came back. How was it?
I enjoyed it, quite honestly, because one, the posture, the stance of the motorcycle, it is very encouraging for you. The suspension holds up well for the off-roading part. Yes, we'll talk in detail about the suspension, in detail about the ergonomics a bit later, but the initial thing that I did, I found the motorcycle to be complimented. It's not demanding too much. It goes along the way you ask it, or the line that you want to take. It does it effortlessly, and I was quite happy. Possibly better tires might make it stick even more.
Yeah, like I said, if there is a road that is reasonably traversable and passable, this is the motorcycle I will take and go. I will not be too scared or afraid, or I will not fear for it. Yes, I may ride at my own pace, which may be way too slow anyway. However, with this motorcycle, I will head any way. As long as there is a path, I will go. It's just so light to handle, amazing to handle on the highway, city, easy peasy, off-road, or somebody with a little more skill and a little more courage. This is the motorcycle to be on.
Yeah, you should have seen Dave jumping all
Oh
over.
yeah. I flew about a foot and a half, and I was thrilled about that air time I had. I was 3 inches off the ground and about 1.5 foot air. I think Dave Venkatesh went about 20 feet flying. I'm happy watching those guys. I don't want to do it.
Me too, Muskie. I'll cheer up.
He puts in a little bit of air time. He's still in his 40s. So he's still got that.
But no way skilled as what they are.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. To each their own skill and their own level of fun. I don't sweat. I'm not jealous. I don't sweat it. If somebody has fun, I just say, boss, leave me to my. This is my fun. Okay. I don't want to go through something and complain.
True. Fuel economy, Muskie.
Yeah, fuel economy. What did we get, CK? We were pushing the motorcycle all along. There was hardly we rode it gently because we were having so much fun. This motorcycle is difficult to ride slowly.
Yes, it is difficult to ride slowly.
Ready to race. If there is a label that we can put on this motorcycle, is ready to race. Hami, jaldi, now, abhi, iga, ippo, po. This keeps. It just encourages. It wants to be on the boil.
Yes.
So we rode it that way. Coming back, calming down a bit from all that adrenaline. 22, 23.
Yes, Bosky. So if you actually look at it, when I was belting around in the city, it was around 17 or 18 because it was majorly the lower gears. On the highway, when I was really giving it the stick, 22, 23 is what you mentioned. Relaxed, 90, 100, saw the best out of it. It was around 25, 26.
So I think 20 in sort of reasonable commuting, Bangalore commuting type of fuel economy, and 26, 27 on the highway would be sort of an average that one can expect, provided don't get carried away by the ready to race slogan.
I mean, like, it just eggs you, Busky.
This is a mad machine. Mad in the sense, it really that's KTM, right? That is KTM. It's always been. That is the DNA of KTM. There are some brands that egg you to ride slowly. That is when the joy, just moving, enjoying what's around, enjoying the exhaust note, gentle throttle, weaving through the countryside, smelling the pollen and getting an allergy and sneezing. Like, that's all I can think of right now. It's springtime and I'm actually I'm struggling with a blocked nostril. So if I sound a bit funny, or rather let me say, if I sound funnier, it's because of enjoying the countryside pollen.
On the BSA.
Yeah, on the BSA. So this, go boy, ride slowly. It gives a whip up the bottom side. Ouch, go, right, push. Because that's where the fun is. Riding around lazily, yes. Probably if I buy this motorcycle, I will ride it also lazily. But this experience, no fun.
Interesting you bring that point up. I know we're deviating a bit. You'd want to ride it lazily. I found this machine, lets you ride relatively lazier than its predecessor.
Oh, yeah. Predecessor, it's a no. You cannot ride me lazily. Please stop. Give the bike to somebody else.
True.
So this can be ridden a bit lazily. So now that we're speaking about, can we speak about the engine character?
You want to get into the engine character?
Yeah. Now that we're talking about how it eggs one to ride on, so I thought it's a good time to speak about it.
Yeah.
4,000 RPM is the tipping point. Okay, up to 4,000, it is a sober machine. throttle response. Yeah, I'm all happy. Okay,
Yeah.
we are on a holiday. 4,000 onwards, the beast is unleashed.
It's like a sledgehammer hitting you.
It revs so crazily that it can pop a wheelie without trying to pop a wheelie. Shift from first to second to third. I can feel the front getting off the ground without trying to. I can pop a wheelie. I can pop a wheelie, although it's only about 2 inch and about maybe 10 feet of air time. But if I can pop a wheelie, you can imagine how good this motorcycle must be.
Yeah.
Yeah, the engine character, it revs beautifully. It just, I don't know, I don't even notice when did it hit the rev limiter? Did you hit the rev limiter?
Yes,
You
I
did?
did it a couple of times. I think I hit the rev limiter on 161 or 163. Yeah, that was
In top gear?
in top gear. Yeah, that was when it was.
This has got a bigger rear sprocket compared to the Duke. So it will tend to hit the rev limiter earlier. The Duke probably has got even more top end than this. It's been done to make it more rideable, more usable in a wide range, unlike the Duke. Yeah, I don't know what RPM it hits the red line. I haven't bothered to check because I was busy looking at where I was going, then looking at the dash to say what RPM. It's a hoot of an engine.
Yeah, I mean they've really evolved it well.
But you keep riding it like that with 14.5 liter fuel tank capacity.
Frequently run to the petrol bunks.
The filling time is a little bit. But then if I'm touring on it, I won't be hustling it like this. So the fuel stop gaps could be reasonable. So only when hustling, gaps will come down. So 14.5 is not a issue. It's okay. It's an acceptable limit. And talking about fuel capacity, this is a metal tank, CK.
Yeah, I think we'll get to the end of it. The metal tank. We still have a long way to go. But ergonomics is there. We need to speak about how you feel.
I popped the plastic tank of the predecessor for cost, because that tank costs more than 40,000 rupees, the plastic tank. So this has got a metal tank, the same metal as in the Duke. So in fact, from being an outlier with a plastic tank, now this motorcycle has become more conventional.
The suspension, Busky. I will go first, please, because you've been taking all the talk time. So suspension for me, I found it the modulation could have been better. The compression, I know you've got some adjustments and stuff like that, but for me to come to a proper balance, I need to buy the motorcycle, experience it. But the way it did and what I could experience of it, I felt the suspension was on the firmer side or a bit stern. I end my topic.
Yes, it is on the firm side. Setting the reference, we are predominantly tourers. We tour. So for our touring, we found it firm. However, yes, it's got so many adjustments. I think we can arrive at a setting where it will be comfortable for us. With the stock setting, while we say we find it firm, there are riders who said with the stock setting, they bottomed the front. That is because they were doing jumps. So to give a very clear differentiation between what we are saying firm and what they are saying, that bottoming out was because Dave Venkatesh, Sagar Sheldekar and the likes, they bottomed this front suspension. We are viewing this motorcycle firm. We find it firm. So then they are viewing. For us, it is not a motorcycle that we are going to take looking for dirt everywhere. Let's see where can I do some off-roading. Let's see where can I do off-roading. Let's see. The off-roading may form a very small part of the usage if we have a motorcycle. For us, predominantly it is touring. In our journeys, we come across some bad roads. This motorcycle can handle it excellently well. That's where we put the perspective, I mean, where we are viewing it from. Adjustable suspension, yes. 30 clicks on the front, preload and damping, 20 and 10 at the rear.
Yeah,
it's a lot of adjustments to go through. We didn't try much, at least I didn't. I don't know if you did. We left it at the stock setting, a bit firm. Probably it will settle down after a 2,000-3,000 kilometers. That stiffness would go away, become more pliant. Getting the suspension right, I think it's just a matter of time. It can be tailor-made, suited to each individual rider and whether they are going to be carrying a pillion or carrying some luggage. Pillion, shall we?
Or the seat. Okay, yeah, pillion.
Pillion, yeah. We don't carry pillions. However, curiously, we sat as a pillion. I sat behind him as a pillion. He sat behind me, and no, it's not great. Not at all great. We don't travel pillion much, like I said. However, it's not designed for a pillion to travel comfortably.
Yeah, as I said earlier, size 0 when it comes in.
So the pillion also has to be size 0, is it?
Applies here as well.
The seat is very small at the back. It's only about this much, and only about this much. Some comfort enhancements may be needed for a pillion to travel comfortably on it. And some things will show up because our market is very great innovating seats and backrests and top cases and holding and things like that. As it is not great for a pillion.
I'll be very interested to see how they put a sofa on the ADV 390.
It will come up. Okay, rider comfort. How's the seat for the rider?
I found it very comfortable. It's very, I wouldn't say it's like the Gen 1 hard stuff. That seat was really good for me.
I like that firm seat on the previous gen
Yeah?
at the ADV. Yeah.
This, I found it a bit soft to my liking.
Bit soft, it's a bit narrower, and it's a bit curved.
Yeah, see, all that is fine. All that's absolutely fine. Just that, the seat, the foam, could have been harder, just like how they had in the first instance.
Yeah, we prefer the firm seat because the hours we spend on it, it retains its shape much longer, because after 2 or 3 hours, the foam collapses and we sit on the seat plate. And that is when things start to hurt. A seat could be better, but not in terms of construction. I would only like a taller seat. We mentioned right at the beginning that the footrest to seat height gap is a bit low. It's made for the Asian market. We referred to that earlier. It's for people who are a bit shorter. I would like my knees a little bit straighter. This was a bit this way, and yeah, it actually did give me a bit of a... Yes, I'm not used to it. Will I get used to it? Maybe. However, right on the onset, or even on this trip to Sakleshpur and back, I didn't enjoy that knee angle. It's a bit too much. I would like a taller seat. I think something will come up. It's just a height. It is not the construction. I don't have a problem with the construction or the material or the shape. Another 20 mm.
From my experience, Baske, I'm not comparing this against the Interceptor, but I'm just quoting my reference point here. The Interceptor does have some aggressive knee back if you actually look at it. I found this kind of similar to that. And to what you mentioned, possibly you get used to it. I don't think so, because it is what it is. You will face that issue. That's what I felt after riding it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would like about the seat. Make it a bit...
Yeah, make it a bit taller, because the upper stance is very good on the motorcycle. Nice, open-chested, really wide handlebar.
Bars.
I wish I can whack one. I mean, like, it's so very nice and easy.
Things fall into place, right?
Things fall into place. But then when you slot it to the gear, let go of the clutch, and your knees tend to go a bit back, that's when I was a bit uncomfortable. So I'm not quite sure if I can buy the theory of getting used to it for a longer duration.
Possible. We have been riding long enough to know what is comfortable for us and what is not.
Yeah.
So a taller seat is...
Taller seat will definitely help, because your knee angle will.
Okay. Did you notice the size of the rubber on the foot pegs?
Oh, yeah.
Fat rubbers. Now, the reason I brought up that is because to correlate it to the vibrations and the buzz.
I was surprised with the vibrations.
Yep.
I wouldn't call it a buzz here. It is
vibration.
Proper vibration. Buzz is something like a high frequency which stays all along, but this was like, this used to vary, and then after the In between, you have a very sweet spot. I think it's like upwards of 6 to 7, and after 7 is then you get the buzz.
6,000 RPM to 7,200 or 7,300, it softens out on the pegs, and above that it comes back again. That is between the speeds of 100 to 115. It is at its smoothest in 6th gear. Below that, it is a lot of buzz on the pegs.
Yeah.
Unusual. I noticed it in Goa, and then we noticed it on this motorcycle also. It is not, it didn't ruin my ride. It did not create any massive discomfort, but it made its presence felt that, I am here.
I didn't find it intrusive.
It kept drawing my attention to it, that it is there. We rode all the way. We came back here. It is something that sticks out because everything else is so good about the motorcycle. There's hardly any buzz on the bars, hardly any buzz on the tank. They come and go at different RPM. That's standard in most single cylinder motorcycles. The seat, the tank, the bars. There is a buzz that comes and goes, buzz on and off various RPM. I didn't bother to map it because it was nothing much to talk about. But the pegs, yes, prominent buzz, and we were riding. We were wearing riding boots.
Yeah.
So at lower RPM on C roads, tarmac roads, yes, it's going to really stand out and keep putting attendance every now and then. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. It's not a showstopper. It's not a deal breaker. However, the presence is obvious.
KTM with all its engineering might, I'm a bit surprised as to
I am.
how they could leave that. It's a big gaping hole.
If there is only one, there is only one thing for me on this motorcycle is a head scratcher, is that vibe on the foot pegs.
Yeah.
Only on the foot pegs. There is nothing else. This is my dream motorcycle. If I imagine the motorcycle, this is what it should turn out without the vibes on the pegs, without this level of vibes. And maybe that's why they given that big fat. I'm going to do some work on it, CK. Because this has got so much going for it. What else would one want from a motorcycle? The kind of wind protection, the kind of ergonomics, the kind of performance, the weight, the way it looks.
I have a simple hack for it, Busky. Chuck the single cylinder and put in a twin cylinder engine and just sort it.
Simple hack. So now you know CK standards of what is simple.
Okay. But yeah, I'll be interested. Yeah, we should try, see what can be done.
We are discussing about owning one of the KTM 390 adventures. We speak, we talk, and we haven't come to a decision yet. So the thought process is still going on, whether we should buy one or not. We love the motorcycle. I love the motorcycle, and let's see. Budget.
We will sort a way out. But
Problem solved.
but the first thing I'm gonna do after buying the ADV is chuck those tires.
That's a bit harsh, CK. Chuck those tires. That's a bit hard.
Use a different.
Change the tires.
Okay, change the tires.
Don't be so hard on those tires. Yeah, these are Apollo Tramplers. We have never ridden Apollos. This is the first motorcycle with an Apollo tire I am riding, and I think the same goes for you. It's not about the grip or anything else. It's just the noise. There's a tire noise. There's a hum. Whoa, 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 whoa. We like making noises. Kitty, kitty, whoa, 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 whoa. So please bear with us.
But we expect our motorcycles to be quiet.
So, there is a lot of tire noise, a tread noise. It's prominent at gentle speeds, especially when going downhill, where we are off throttle and kind of coasting down. In some parts of it, off throttle, you can hear the tire. There's a lot of hum. That's a bit bothersome. Grip-wise, I didn't find anything. Would I live with the hum and the grip? I don't know. Let's explore what tire options we have.
Yeah, I found the tires a bit hard, very honestly put, compared to the motorcycles that I ride, be it the V-Strom, the Himalaya, or
The construction itself is hard.
I think it's a bit hard.
Maybe that's also contributing to that, the feel of that, because tire is part of the suspension.
Yes.
Tires are part of the suspension. They're made of rubber. They absorb a lot of the shock. The tread blocks itself, and then the sidewall absorbs the rest of the shock. And if a construction is firm, yes, it can translate into the suspension, giving us that kind of the slightly jittery ride on those rippled roads. Maybe.
Yeah. So I think that's what I would do. But then, Busky, do we spend money on the 390X or the 390S, or do we wait for the 390R?
Okay, I will speak from my perspective. I will not wait for the 390R because it's an out and out motorcycle designed for a lot of off-roading. People who can use that kind of fun, that kind of power, who have that ability, the skill, the willingness, and the bravado to do that. To do all that, I have the KLX with me, which is within what my capability, mental, physical limits are. So for me, the R is ruled out. But for people who are really the off-road enthusiasts, R will be good. Between the X and this, I would go for this. I would stretch my budget by the S. The electronics is the fun in this motorcycle. The adjustable suspension is the fun in the motorcycle. I'm not going to lose that out and buy a motorcycle without all those electronics, without the adjustable suspension, and predominantly do touring. If at that price I am going to do touring at the price where the X sits, there are other motorcycles to choose from.
I will give your analogy today, Busky, because I'm going to decide, because I'm going to also share my opinion. 390X is your curd rice. Plain simple. I can top it up and have the bisi bele bath. That's your S. And I'm happy with it. I don't want to top up further and go for your mutton biryani.
Which is
because the bisi bele bath is good enough for me.
Mutton biryani you cannot have every day.
Yes.
So I don't need mutton biryani. The X is a nice motorcycle, no doubt. It's everything. It's got what the S has got, except for the spoke wheels. It's got alloy wheels, a 19-inch front. It can change the handling slightly, not dramatically. It's more, I would say that's more positioned at a price point to offer a motorcycle at that price to be in that environment. It is priced exactly, I think 5,000 rupees difference between that and the Himalayan 450.
Yeah? Okay, I think we'll talk of that later.
Yeah, so that's where it is positioned. If I don't have the budget to buy the S, I have budget for the X. I will wait a little more, add some more money, and I will go pick up the S. Don't miss out on the electronics. Don't miss out. And do not miss out on the suspension. These are the two greatest things in this motorcycle, and I will borrow, beg, steal, and I will buy the S.
It's okay, Busky. Let us both, pitch in and buy the S.
50-50.
Yeah. You take it on the even days, I take it on the odd days. Odd weeks and even weeks.
However, yes, if the budget is really a constraint, yes, why not? If some people are already stretching to buy the X,
I can understand.
Yes, keeping that in mind, if the X itself is a stretch, it's a good stretch. Please go. But if X is not a stretch, going for the S.
True. The fun lies there.
It's fun. I don't know how much fun we will do fooling on the electronics and fooling on the suspension. What it will do is get it to a point where the rider can have maximum comfort, maximum fun. We may not be fiddling with it for months together. I'm sure over 5,000-7,000 kilometers, it will come to a setting where I say, this is my setting, this is how I like the motorcycle. And that's the fun in this motorcycle.
Yes.
I have looked forward to this motorcycle for several months. It turned out to be almost everything I want it to be. A couple of things. CK,
Busky.
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ budget ಕೊಡಿ.
Bunny Ogana.
Take a test ride, like we always say. Nothing can replace you going there, taking a ride, experiencing the motorcycle for yourself. All what we say is our experience and our opinions.
Yeah.
You go experience it, correlate to what we say. Things could be different for you. Well and good. It's a KTM. KTM.
True. Well said, Bosky. Now, are we ready to race to the nearest KTM showroom? I know there's one down the road here.
Ready to race. Thank you for watching. We hope to come up with the comparison between the Himalayan 450 and the KTM 390 Adventure very soon. We rode it together back to back to Sakleshpur and back, and of course we have the Himalayans. We have a lot of experience and a lot of miles and or kilometers on it, so we have a basis to speak. We want to make sure we digest all the facts and come out with something that makes sense to all people who are interested to know more about that.
Yes, I think that's a very widely debated topic today on the social media.
We don't want to jump the gun and say things about it. We will compile the data, come out with our preferences and why we prefer some aspects on some motorcycle or other aspects on the other motorcycle. So till then, the suspense stays.
Yes.
See you in a week or a couple of weeks' time. Take care. Ride safe.